Welcome to our midweek show, The Fantasy Lens, where we take a deep dive into anything and everything fantasy hockey specific. This week is trade deadline week, so Nick will take us into what is bound to be a pretty heated discussion about the looming trade deadline in a couple of days.
And
Well,
sorry, Nick, I just want Junior, wedding season is coming. Sponsor.
Oh yes.
I
Before
was gonna say the
all
same
this, all this is possible in part with the support of ANC Photo Booths. Like Vince said, wedding seasons are around the corner. You're already organizing yourself to have the best party ever, and the best party is never without ANC Photo Booths. You need a good photo booth. You got the best service. You got the best price. Give Andrew and Cynthia a call or follow them on Instagram at ANC Photo Booths. That's AAND Photo Booths on Instagram. Let them know what your availabilities are. And the best part is that they already have the best price. You tell them Partial Breakaway sent you, you get an even better price. Off to you, Nick.
All right, guys. So what I'm using here is Daily Faceoff's trade bait board. And we're going to go over a few of the names here that we might believe that are possibly going to be traded, might not be traded, who's fantasy relevant, what kind of impact that might be for the fantasy GMs out there. I'm very curious on one of them because I did get an offer for a player, and Robert Thomas was part of it, so that's a little sneak peek there, but that's going to be a big one that I want to hear your opinions on. So let's just get started here. Also, guys, before I do start, please note 91.9% of viewers that are listening to us are new viewers, or watching on YouTube or listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the podcast networks. So in case you don't know who we are a fantasy hockey salary cap specific podcast. We focus on dynasty hockey, and we're trying to a lot of people talk about redraft leagues because that's the most popular fantasy out there, but those of us that are sick in the head, we like dynasty, we like drafting, pretending we're real GMs, couch GMs if you may, and that's why we're here today. So hopefully we give you guys some insight. And yes, Junior, go ahead.
Nick, I just wanted to add, so basically on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, basically you have our clips about our episodes. But what you could also do is follow us on X, where we don't post clips. But what we often do is, instead of having to follow the beat reporters of 32 teams, you follow Partial Breakaway, and we're giving you all the news of these beat reporters. We follow them, and we retweet everything that you need to know. So it's like a one-stop shop. So we save the clips for the other social platforms. X is basically just for flat-out day-to-day information from every team.
Excellent.
With the help of, obviously, the beat reporters, who obviously are always accredited.
Also, 86% of you are not subscribed. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and that's going to help us out a lot. We bring this to you free out of our kindness of our own hearts, and because, again, we're sick in the head. So please support our sickness.
Yeah,
All
be
right.
sick with us.
Be sick with us. Okay, guys.
Let's go. Start with the big one.
Oh, I should mention also, we're recording this on March 1st. So in case there's already some trades that go down by the time you listen to this podcast, hopefully we got it right in our guesses. And if we didn't, well, still listen and subscribe, okay? Or subscribe and don't listen. It's still good. All right, guys. Let's start with a small one. Let's start with a small one because I just want to get warmed up here. Blake Coleman might not be a goal-scoring machine, but Blake Coleman is someone that does have some peripherals out there. He does hit shots, shoots about 2 shots per game. Shoots shots.
Shoot shots. Hey, boy. This is going to be a fun episode.
And he kind of throws a block in here once every 2 games. So, Junior, what can you tell me a little bit about Blake Coleman? I mean, the guy has 0 points in 6 games played. Is he really fantasy relevant?
He could be in bash leagues, I guess. With the peripherals. He's hit 30 goals before, and he's hit 20 a couple of times as well. He's come close with 18 a few times, but yeah, I mean, players like that when they're traded at the deadline, it's mostly for a supporting role, but they end up playing a pretty important role when it works out. So yeah, fantasy relevant, not so much. And maybe it's what do you call it? A shot in the dark or a dart throw?
Maybe a watch list for a playoff league, right?
Well, I'm trying to see like which teams can he really excel with, like which teams is it a possibility where offensively he could have a spark, and if he goes to Vegas, that could be nice. That could be nice. He doesn't have a huge contract. I believe his contract is 4.9. Yeah. So yeah.
And expiring.
And expiring.
No,
so not much.
Is it expiring?
Oh no, it says through 2026.
No, that's it. So that's why it's not.
More.
Yeah, it's not a rental. This is not a rental for Blake Coleman. So whatever team is getting him has to get him for another year. So it might not be fantasy. There might be no relevance fantasy when he gets traded, if he gets traded this year. But there could be some fantasy relevance next year if he sticks with that team for the whole year. So let's say he gets traded to a Tampa Bay or a Vegas team, especially a Tampa Bay. I like the Tampa Bay fit, where he can move up to that top 6 role if needed with Tampa Bay next year. But this is also, the price is high for Calgary. The price is high, and they're not in a hurry to trade him. They could trade him as a rental next year, and basically almost get the same thing they're asking for now. So, I
go ahead, finish your thought.
Yeah, I don't think he's the fantasy relevance this year. I don't think is there, but it'll be interesting to see if he does get traded, who he gets traded to.
I think from a non-fantasy perspective, Buffalo and Montreal could both use a guy like Blake Coleman.
All right. Let's move on from Blake Coleman here, because I want to get into the real crux of the matter here. Robert Thomas from St. Louis, 26 years old, $8.125 million cap hit, has signed until 2031. Basically, he has a full no trade clause, so he's gonna pick the destination that he's going to. His name is out there, and it would probably cost a lot, but this is fantasy relevant. Where's this guy going? Is it going to hurt his value leaving from St. Louis, or is it going to gain value leaving from St. Louis? I want your takes from this. I'll start with Vince this time.
To all those people that are going to stay home to watch trade deadline and call in sick, Robert Thomas will not get traded at trade deadline unless it is a hefty price to pay. And the one team that might do it is the Utah Mammoths, because they've realized that Hayton cannot be their number 2 centerman on that team, or Cooley and Hayton cannot be their 1-2 if they want to go far into the playoffs. But if you're in St. Louis if you're in St. Louis's shoes, why hurry this trade? Why not wait till other teams make cap adjustments and that the cap goes up next year? That then more teams will be interested in Robert Thomas. He's an elite player, Robert Thomas. He's a number 1 centerman. I mean, fantasy-wise, his biggest downfall is he doesn't score many goals, but he'll still get you that point per game. He's a point per game player. Does he need a change of scenery? 100%, because like Nick would say, St. Louis is a dumpster fire, however you say it. Cairo's not happy. They're gonna go through a full rebuild or close to a rebuild, and so I think a change of scenery is gonna happen with Robert Thomas. I'm just not convinced it's gonna be a trade deadline. I think for St. Louis's sake, I think for them it'd be beneficial to wait and see how many teams can adjust their caps to fit a Robert Thomas on their team.
Junior?
Yeah, the difference this year though to what Vince is saying, because 9 out of 10 times what Vince is saying is accurate. He probably doesn't get traded, but there's two teams in the playoff hunt right now that are desperate for a big move. Absolutely desperate. He mentioned Utah. Detroit is another team that's absolutely desperate for a big move. They failed time and time again in free agencies to no fault of their own. They just did not win the sweepstakes for whichever player they were going after. There's an opportunity here. They have the assets. They have the window that's opening with the young crop they have. If they fit in a Robert Thomas, and it's going to cost them one of their defensemen, either Edvinson or Sandin Pelika, because St. Louis' prospect pool on defense is not deep. So one of the biggest assets they want to acquire is a strong defenseman, whether it's strongly offensively or strongly two-way defenseman. There's a center like Casper Danielson. They have picks galore. They have goaltending prospects in Augustine and Kosa. They have a lot of assets, and if you slide Robert Thomas in on the Detroit Red Wings roster, you're gonna have a number one Dylan Larkin, number two Robert Thomas at center. He's gonna be playing with maybe Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane, and isn't that better than what he's playing with right now? An inconsistent Kyrou, which he also might get traded. We'll see, but yeah, guys, I'm going to disagree with Vince and say he does get traded. Sorry?
I wonder in that situation if Larkin stays number one.
But he has good chemistry with Raymond, though. I don't know if they're going to split him.
That part I agree with you. I'm just saying that if you look at the point paces and if you look at their fantasy points per game, not this year, obviously, because St. Louis, like we said, is a tire fire, dumpster fire, whatever Vince wants to call it. But they have some similar outlooks and similar numbers. Robert Thomas has been injured quite a bit too, so that kind of doesn't help, right? So I don't think he's ever played an 82 game schedule. So yeah, that's part of it. So whether he goes to Utah, like if I look at Utah, obviously Cooley is a talent. I'm not telling you Cooley is not a talent, but as of right now, I still think that Robert Thomas probably becomes the number one center on that team instantly.
Yeah, he probably ends up centering Keller and maybe Schmaltz on the wing.
Yeah, but
that's pretty sick.
Exactly, but look at Utah. Then with Robert Thomas there, you have Keller, Thomas, Schmaltz. Your second line is Gunter, Cooley, and whoever you want to put on that wing.
Peterka.
Like that's a solid top six, right?
Damn.
So and that's what I'm saying. The only way he gets traded is if either Detroit or Utah are gonna overpay, because St. Louis is not gonna drop their price on Robert Thomas. They don't need to trade him. Yeah, exactly. So they're gonna go and Robert Thomas has to give the okay that he wants to get traded there. Right now, it seems like he'll give the okay because he's not very happy in St. Louis anyways. So as long as it's a performing team that he agrees with, he'll bypass his no trade clause. But it'll be interesting. But Nick, do you think he gets traded at trade deadline, or do you think this goes into?
Well, just from history's perspective, I always look forward to trade deadline, and I'm always disappointed. So it's very possible that he does not get moved. Well, that's the more likely scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm a fantasy podcaster, I'm going to say, yeah, he gets traded. Absolutely, he does, and we'll see where he goes. No, I'm excited. Look, Thomas is a really good player. A lot of teams could use him, and I want to see big splashes. I want to see big trades, right?
If Utah does trade him, Teja Gilna's part of that package?
Yeah, for sure.
Look,
Or Desnoyers?
Not Desnoyers. You think Desnoyers has been going down in rankings this year? He hasn't had a very good.
Personally, I think if you have an asset, like if I'm St. Louis and I have an asset, and I don't need to trade him, right? I'm kind of going through this with the McKinnon thing, right? I don't necessarily need to trade him, but if you get me a package that's exciting, then yes. But it has to be exciting. There has to be a wow factor to the offer. So for me, Tijagila might be the wow factor to try to pry a Robert Thomas away from that team. We'll see.
Do you have you said he's getting traded. Do you have a prediction of a team?
No, I heard Utah like you guys heard. I didn't hear much else. I mean, Daily Faceoff here, I think, wrote the Blues trading him to the Leafs. And I'm like, I don't know.
With what assets are they going to acquire?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think
Austin
the
Matthews.
Leafs are. But I don't. That's it. I don't think the Leafs are in a buying window right now. It looks more like they're in a selling window. And McCann is one of those that they're going to be selling. And maybe I should go right into it as a segue, right? Like,
Yeah, 2% chance of winning the Leafs have. The 2% chance of making the playoffs, the Leafs.
and I think they have if I'm not mistaken, was it 2% or was it an 8% chance of making the playoffs?
No, right now it's
Two.
at 2%. After their after last week, it's at 2%.
So
As
they
of
have a
today,
2% chance of making the playoffs.
yeah.
And I think they have like a 9% chance of being bottom 5 and keeping their first round pick.
So I saw this. So who I think it was in one of our chats. They said they're 8 points from a wild card and 9 points from the fifth worst record.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
insane.
But
Bobby
but,
McCann, yeah.
but we all agree that Toronto needs to be sellers here.
Okay, well, it looks like Bobby McMahon is somebody that is already being sold. He's from Toronto, 29 years old, $1.3 million, a pending UFA. He's on the trade bait board.
Mm.
This guy is fast. He's a late bloomer. He's fast. He probably not a superstar player, but still somebody that could help out. Do we see him basically triggering the sell in Toronto? Like, is this part one of the sell, or
Yeah, I think it should be part one, and then there should be a part 2, 3, and 4 coming along with it. I mean, there should be McCann that goes, and he's at the 1.35, so he shouldn't be very hard to. I mean, it shouldn't be very hard to get a dancing partner to trade McCann. McMahon. Sorry, he's a productive winger. He can score. I mean, then you have also Lawton.
Lawton's also on this board?
Lawton should be on the board. Ekman Larson should be on the board because these are all players that could bring
Simon
back.
Benoit is on the board.
Yeah, they can all
Just
bring
looking
back.
at Daily Face-Off here, I'm saying.
Yeah, that's it. But they can all bring back good assets back to Toronto to help them turn this around quickly. So
You think so?
yeah, I think so. I think so.
Turn
I
it
think,
around quickly?
yeah, because but what does Toronto?
If you get a second round pick, you're probably looking at 4 or 5 years down the line that this
Yeah,
person
but
actually
Nick, is it going to
becomes
be?
something.
Are they if they trade those 4 guys and they get, let's say, 1 first and 2 seconds or whatever, after the draft is over, is their prospect pool going to look better than it is now?
Sorry, did you say a
Who's the
first?
first?
Who's getting a first? Who are they trading
Guys.
that's going to give them a first round pick?
You tell me McMahon can give them a first, like a late first, like
No,
like
probably
Lawton,
second.
I
Probably
think
second.
Toronto screwed themselves by
Or
trading what
Ekman
they
Larson,
did for
you-
Lawton last year.
But you don't think Ekman Larson is gonna, because there's rumors that Ekman Larson could get them a first from Edmonton.
I actually see McMahon going to Edmonton. I think McMahon is going to go to a team
Yeah.
that is cap constrained,
Yeah,
and he would fit nicely there on the third line,
But-
or
but
up
that-
and down the top 9 if you want.
but even if they get all seconds, let's say, the prospects pool is gonna look better after they sell all those guys than if they don't sell these guys, right?
No, yeah, but I think my point was not whether the prospect pool is going to look better or not. Obviously, the more picks you have, the more chances of creating a better prospect pool. My point was, like, none of these guys that you're getting, even if it's a late first round pick, are probably going to be relevant for your team for the next 3 years. So what's the decision that Toronto needs to make here? Should they sell, or is it just a retool, or do they do a full rebuild? Like we were talking in that chat, right, with our friends from Toronto, and those friends were saying that this team has a hard time making the hard decisions. Either go all in or go all out, but stop staying in the middle. And it feels like they've been in the middle for
I don't think they've been in the middle. I mean, come on.
No,
you
sorry.
You went
This
to
year,
get
this year.
Tavares. Yeah, this year. Look, the thing is, if they go get all these picks, if you're gonna decide that you're keeping Matthews and you're keeping Nylander, then these picks they acquire, they're gonna be traded for other assets that could help them now.
But that's exactly
If
where
they
I was
decide to
going.
move away from Matthews and Nylander and they strip it down completely, then it's a different ballgame. But
because right
Those
now,
assets they get, they're going to trade away because
Yeah.
they're going to want to keep winning. They have
Okay, so
big
you're saying
Exactly.
to
rosters.
flip the assets, not
yeah,
necessarily to get more draft picks
these
to build
assets,
a pool.
these assets don't have to be relevant to Toronto. The problem is now when you talk about Toronto, who are the two names that are coming up that have to be in that trade all the time when they're going to get a big player? It's Easton Cowan or what's Danford. These are the two
Danford,
players
yeah.
they want to keep. So if you stack up at least with, I'm not saying elite prospect, but blue chip prospects, you might be able to wheel and deal
Blue
and
chip
get
is
and
pretty elite.
yeah, but get someone and maybe get lucky in one of those second round picks and get a guy like Jarosky, Montreal got Jarosky or something like that, right? So that's where Toronto has to start playing a little bit of the games. And then there's another guy on the draft board which I think would fit perfectly in with Toronto is Dougie Hamilton. But the thing is, Dougie Hamilton is not coming to Toronto on trade deadline because it's useless for him to come to Toronto at trade deadline because Toronto has no cap space, and they're probably not going to be playoff relevance. So why not wait till the draft, see where you end up in the draft? Mind you, you don't have no first round pick anyways, but your second might be a little bit more relevant if you're at the bottom six, you know? So I think Dougie Hamilton is the play they need to make in the offseason when it comes to New Jersey because even New Jersey can't ask for the heaven and moon for Dougie Hamilton either.
You know, Dougie Hamilton would fit nicely in Boston if he went back to Boston. I feel like they're missing a bit of that puck moving defenseman. Charlie McAvoy maybe he's trying to do a bit too much right now. He's asked to do too much. I think that could alleviate a bit from Charlie McAvoy. I just don't know how they're going to fit it on the cap. I mean, when there's a will, there's a way, but I see a nice fit in Boston for Dougie Hamilton.
So you just there's a TMZ moment. I apologize for it. I know Junior usually has these TMZ moments. The reason he won't go back to Boston is because when he wasn't, the reason he got traded away from Boston, from what we're here from this TMZ thing, is that Dougie Hamilton is a very smart, nerdy kid. Likes to go to museums, like to go to sophisticated things like that, and was being made fun of because of that. So just to say,
By who? By fans and stuff.
by players, his teammates.
What are they? What are they in the daycare?
Yeah,
What the hell is that?
Let's just say he didn't
That's
fit the
pathetic,
Boston.
though, for that
yeah,
man.
exactly.
What?
He
He
didn't
didn't
fit
fit the Boston
the Boston
mentality.
the Boston
Okay,
mentality,
yeah.
and that's where they
Okay.
got.
Guys, I'm just gonna take over a little bit here and talk about guys that might miss out. So teams that might miss out on Robert Thomas. There's three other centers that are being spoken about. I want to get your take on these three centers. I'm gonna kind of bunch them together so we could move along here. But the center market has Vincent Trocheck as one of the guys that's most likely to be moved. Braden Shen. I think this guy has been on the trade list every single year, but they never gets moved. And then Nazem Kadri. Now these three guys all have their own fantasy relevance to them. Junior, I'll start with you this time. Where do we think, or what do we think is the most relevant? Where do we think these guys might end up? And should fantasy managers really be focusing in on these guys?
Okay, so I'm just double checking here. If I'm not mistaken, they all have term on their contract.
Okay, so I'll tell you the terms. Shen has 1 more year after this year. Trocheck has 3 more years after this year. And I think Kadri is the one who has the most, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check here. No,
Shen has
Kadri and Trocheck have the same. No, Kadri, his contract's finished. Sorry. Yeah, Kadri, Trocheck have the most in 3 years. And Shen, his contract's done in 27-28, so 2 more years.
after this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Trocheck has an opportunity to be. I mean, it's always the same teams that are going to be related, right? Because if you miss out on one, you go after the other, and if you miss out on him, you go on after the. If I had to rank them from 1 to 3 from a fantasy perspective, it's obviously Robert Thomas, It's going to be Vincent Trocheck, Nazem Kadri, and then Braden Shen. But yeah, Braden Shen's going to serve a different purpose when he gets traded to whoever he gets traded to. It's more of a bottom six or middle six, let's say. Middle six or maybe a power play presence. Whereas Trocheck, he's probably going to be a number 2 center on a team. And the same teams we mentioned before. It could be Utah. It could be Detroit. I think Montreal could be an excellent fit for Trocheck.
He's a face-off guy too, eh?
Yeah.
Very, very good, strong face-offs.
But the thing with these two players...
I'm curious, Nazem Kadri to back to Colorado.
Yeah.
Maybe as a third C.
The thing is, which team is willing to take on not only the salary, but the term on all these contracts? Like Shen, we don't see him as a number 2 centerman, so you're paying him as a number 3 centerman at $6.5 million.
He's probably even going to play the wing, Vince.
Yeah,
I don't even think he's going to play center.
Trocheck, he's failing in New York as number 2 centerman.
But the whole team is failing, right? I don't know if that's really a Trocheck thing.
No, but still, like at 5.6 million for another 3 years, it's a cap hit.
Okay.
At 32 years old, so it all depends. And me, Kadri, the biggest thing for me is 35 years old at 7 million. It's a big risk for Kadri.
You think so?
Yeah, for what they're gonna ask for. Like which one do you think you're gonna have to pay the biggest buck for? Out of all those 3 players, it has to be Kadri. You can't tell me.
I think Trocheck might be up there too, Vince.
I
think a lot of I think a lot of teams are not sleeping on Trocheck.
I'm not saying
they're
sleeping, but
this guy is he could do a little bit of everything.
But who's going to be asking for more? You think the Rangers are going to be asking for more than what Calgary is asking for Kadri?
So let's just say that you're Minnesota, okay?
Yeah.
You just lost Eric Sinek, okay?
Hartman is on the board.
Hartman is definitely not a number 1 center.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right? This foregone conclusion. Nazem Kadri could fill a role there. Trocheck could fill a role there, right? This team is desperate for centermen to play with guys like Kaprizov. You have guys like Boldy, right? Like this team has the wingers that could drive play for you. They need a centerman to really like win those faceoffs, get in the middle, play down the middle. Like they need this if they have playoff aspirations. Like they just went out and they got Quinn Hughes, right? To me, how do you not continue and try to get that center that you're missing to make a run for it? I think this team makes a lot of sense, and I don't think $7 million is very expensive nowadays. And next year, the cap keeps going up. So
the thing is, someone who's going to go after Kadri is going to have to be a team that is a Kadri away from winning, because he's on the books for another 3 years till he's 38 years old. A Trocheck is 32 and a bit. 3 more years, he's going to be 35 at the end of his contract. I think that's a lot more attractive and probably more expensive than someone who's going to go get a Kadri. And then there's the whole retention factor as well, right? Are any of these teams going to retain the maximum amount? Who knows? But yeah, like you said, Nick, if we're talking Minnesota, I think no matter who goes there between Trocheck or Kadri, I think that's definitely fantasy relevant.
Yeah,
I take my chances with more Trocheck than I do Kadri. But again, it all depends the mold of the team and what they're looking for. You know, for a team that's missing a bit more grit and like offensive grit, then maybe the Kadri's the guy. If there's a team that's missing more like offense and two-way responsibility, face-offs and all that stuff, maybe Trocheck's the guy.
Okay, let me pivot here a little bit to the crease.
Nick, are you going to do the sponsor first?
Junior, please, if you are willing to, may you please provide the word from our sponsor.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
From
Good catch, Vince.
Our sponsor is, in partnership with THPN, it's DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. The NHL is back. All your favorite betting opportunities are available. Like Nick often mentions, the shots on goal, baby. Cutter, Gauthier, Nathan McKinnon. You go look at what their over-unders are and you take your chance. New customer, bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer, copyright 2026, NHL, all rights reserved.
All right, guys. So I want to pivot here to goaltending. There's a few goaltenders that are on the trade bait board. The most obvious one, and the one I think spoken about the most, is Jordan Binnington. He has had a bad year in St. Louis, won a silver medal with Team Canada in Milan. He seemed to be pretty decent during the Olympics, but he wasn't necessarily perfect either, right? And then there's a surprising name, but for good reason, and that's Jesper Wallstedt. Jesper Wallstedt is on the trade bait board here, according to Daily Faceoff. And a big reason for this is not because he's not a good goalie. It's quite the opposite. They are looking to move Wallstedt for a big top six play. They don't need two goalies necessarily at this caliber, and Gustafsson has been showing that he's playing really, really well. If he's your unquestioned number one, then Wallstedt is expendable. So what do you guys think? I'll start with Junior this time about the goalie carousel here. There's not a lot of goalie names, but these two are pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Wallstedt is a good piece to add in a trade for a Robert Thomas, if you ask me. I mean, that's a start.
Would that be a dream?
I know St. Louis has Hofer, but I mean, you're going to really take Hofer over Wallstedt?
Kaprizov, Robert Thomas, Boldy.
Wild. Absolutely wild. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely for a big fish. And I think the options might be bigger in the offseason for a Wallstedt trade because, you know, those kind of centers are maybe not all available right now. Binnington, depends where he goes. Binnington, it depends where he goes. You know, if you tell me he's going to Edmonton, I'm not coming anywhere close to that. 0-0-0. But again, which other team really needs a goalie presence? Been rumored the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, how much better can he be with the Montreal Canadiens? I'm not sure. It's not like they're a machine defensively. But there's a name that you didn't mention, Nick, that I've been hearing a little bit more as of late. And they're pretty much out of the playoffs, if you ask me, at this point. They lost again today versus the Islanders. But Sergei Bobrovsky is a pending free agent. And negotiations are not going well with the Florida Panthers. He's actually getting a bit frustrated with the fact that all these other guys got easy contracts extensions, and for him it's a struggle. Why can't he get paid like they got paid? So I wonder if maybe Bobrovsky is an option somewhere.
Vince?
Yeah, listen, these goalies. I mean, teams that are in the playoffs. I don't see many of them looking for a goalie. I mean, like we said, maybe Edmonton, but is Edmonton really gonna like double down and try to go get the goalie? I mean, they made their bed with Tristan Jarry and Connor Ingram. I don't think there's anything else to do when it comes to them. The most they can do is maybe solidify their defense with maybe Ekman Larson, a Justin Falk, something like that. Um, the problem with Bobrovsky is that $10 million hit. Who's gonna take that $10 million on, even if it's for a season or retention?
They can retain 50% because it's the final year.
Yeah, I
They
understand,
could
but
retain.
still,
They could retain.
Oh yeah, I
50%
get confused with
anytime.
Lama anytime. But
yeah,
yeah, they can
exactly.
retain 50%. It's 5 million.
But the problem is who's gonna take that chance and then pay the price that Florida's asking for, and then, I mean, what is he asking for? How old is he? He's 35. You can't be asking for another
He's
10 million.
37. He's
37. You can't be asking for another $10 million at 37 years old. I mean, come on. Especially Florida would be just nonsense to give him that. The one place Florida needs to save on is on goaltending. They need their goaltenders to make the minimal amount of money for the team that they have and they want to build for the next 3 to 4 years.
The
Like a
problem is
Spencer
they
Knight
don't.
type thing.
Yeah,
don't
like
have-
that they
they
traded
don't
away,
have.
but they have a Tarasov. You're telling me there's nobody that you're telling me there's
Tarasov's
no.
not a starter.
Come on.
No, I know, but you're telling me there's no. They can't go get any goalie that's gonna make between 4 to 5 and be a solid goalie.
How
for
much
them?
do you think he's asking for Bobrovsky?
Apparently, he's
I don't
asking.
think he's
close,
asking for 10 million.
he's asking close to what he's making now, from what they were saying.
I wouldn't be surprised, Junior.
And
I don't know.
the other team that I can think of that Nick actually mentioned was do the Vegas Golden Knights have a problem in nets right now?
They do. They
And
absolutely do.
so can they go out and get one of these goalies or afford to go get one of these goalies? So it'll be an interesting goaltending carousel.
Well, they're definitely gonna not die on that hill
No,
that
definitely
they
not.
paid,
No.
that they're
No,
standing on.
Yeah, exactly. So
See what I did
it,
there? Little
it,
play on words. No.
it's going to be an interesting trade deadline to see if any young players move. Like at Wallstead, I don't see Wallstead moving at trade deadline. But
You're
my
just throwing
biggest
cold
interest.
water on everything.
Yeah. Honestly, my biggest intrigue trade deadline is the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's the team I'm going to focus on to see if they just go balls in and have the balls to like just trade out their assets, bring something in, and try to retool this as quickly as possible.
Okay, guys. To end the episode, I want to talk about a couple of young guys. Okay. You had something to add, Junior?
I just wonder because I was looking at the Florida Panthers roster and their salary situation, and they signed all their vets to extensions, right? So Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, Sam Bennett, Carter Vergehe, Brad Marchand, all these guys have no movement clauses,
Yeah, they won their cup and their
Then
and
it's
they're tied against the cap. They might want to make moves this offseason. I wonder. I know it's completely out of left field. But if someone pays a hefty price, which it's going to cost, is Anton Lundell someone that out of nowhere a team goes to acquire as a number 2 center?
he's a pretty decent player, and I think that he's underrated.
yeah,
I think he's gonna be one of those guys that's
yeah.
he's gonna explode soon.
4
I think-
years left at 5 million after this.
I think Florida would rather go get a goalie of $2 million and keep Lundell than trade Lundell and get a goalie.
But that's exactly it. With so many people that are signed long term, that $5 million is great for them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I get
Alright.
what you're saying.
Who are the other young
Got it.
guys you wanted to talk about, Nick?
Shane Wright is on the trade board, and Seattle has said that he's available if they're getting a top 6 player in return. Top 6 forward, to be exact, right? So he's one of them. The other guy is, I'm just going down here, Mintyukov might be available from Anaheim.
Well,
Multiple
he asked for a
healthy
trade, I think.
scratches. Multiple
Like,
healthy scratches. Yeah, Mintyukov is open to being moved
yeah.
if he gets a better opportunity. So he's another guy that's young. And Brad Lambert from Winnipeg. So, I mean, I could keep going, but I think let's stick with those three guys, right? Brad Lambert hasn't had exactly the best of the best development in Winnipeg, and he's been
Hmm.
struggling. But he's been granted permission to seek a trade. So that's another guy. Minchukov, like you said, is open to being traded. And then you have Shane Wright, who likes to stare people down, but clearly has not been at the level of Sikorsky. So, um,
For Seattle to say we're willing to give up Shane Wright for a top six forward, I think is just ridiculous because where does Shane Wright demand a top six forward? 23 points in 59 games, 44 points in 79 the year before. Yes, he was the fourth overall pick, but to say you can get a top six forward for just Shane Wright, I think is just a ridiculous ask from Seattle. The one that intrigues me is
No, I
Minchukov.
think it's in a package deal, Vince. But
Yeah, it
he's
has to
being a
be.
very big piece of
don't
that
forget,
deal.
don't forget when you're talking about guys that went in the top five, that value of their draft position kind of follows them around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And other teams might think that this guy should have been a top
yeah.
three player on that.
I think Lambert was always when Lambert was drafted, he was a high reward type of guy, but could be easily a bust also on the same time. That's how he fluctuated in his draft year. Minchukov to me is the interesting one because he showed he has some offensive prowl to his game, but in Anaheim with Lacombe in front of him and Zellweger, don't think he got his share deal of the pie to test that out. So it'd be interesting for he's young, so I think he can bring in a good return. But I mean, young players, we always say it, right? The names are nice, the draft positions are nice, but sometimes they're just busts or they're just not what we think they are.
Yeah, I don't know about calling him bust yet, but I see what you're trying to say there.
Yeah.
I think
Junior,
the book still has to be written on Shane Wright. I don't think he's been given a fair shot. I mean, it's only his second year, full year in the league. He's only pacing for 32 points, but he's also only playing 14 minutes in a defensive team that doesn't have much firepower up front. The ideal situation I see, like what I envision happening at the deadline, call me Nostradamus, whatever you want to call it, but like if St. Louis trades away Robert Thomas, they now have a hole at center, correct? If they don't acquire someone in return.
Well,
I
they have
think
Dvorsky.
yeah, but they still who else do they have? I'm saying if they're rebuilding, they need more than just Dvorsky. There's missing someone. So if they then turn around and go get Shane Wright in a package deal for Jordan Kyrou, who maybe his stock now went down a little bit.
that was another name.
So Jordan Kyrou could be that top six forward for Seattle, which they desperately need to score goals, and they're going to be desperate to make a move because they're only 3 points ahead of the team chasing them for the final wildcard spot is only 3 points away. So they're going to be chasing someone to score. I think that little combination could make a lot of sense for them.
You know, you should just be brokering these deals. You should be calling St. Louis managers here and saying, guys, I got something for you. Try
Do
this.
it. Come on,
you know?
man.
I don't think that I would ever trade Jordan Kyrou for a Shane Wright. It would have to be a lot more than just Shane Wright. But yeah, I
Of
see
course,
what,
of course.
I see what
But
you're saying, though. There's some synergy there.
what about Nick? What about Shane Wright to Vancouver
Yeah,
with a package deal of
for
Pedersen coming
Elias.
back? Yeah.
I mean, sure. If you want a fourth liner at $11 million, I mean, why not?
But maybe a Brock Besser. Maybe a Brock Besser.
Because
Seattle and Vancouver are enemies, though, so that's like a whole
look,
different thing. But
Brock has stated that he doesn't want to move. He signed a deal there on purpose, and even if they're rebuilding, he's going to stay there. And kind of mentor. So I don't know if he's open for moving, but you never know until like that opportunity arises where you're like, well, I'm bringing you to a Stanley Cup team or a team that's potentially in the playoffs. Maybe that's something that you're looking forward to. Guys, I'll ask you. We're at 44 minutes. The episode is pretty much over. Any last names that you want to throw out there, like a big Nostradamus type prediction, like Junior said, that might actually move, and we'll see if we're right or wrong.
A Nostradamus that might be moved.
Yes,
Listen, I'm gonna go Patrick Laney.
Patrick Laine. Okay, and
Patrick Laine, I think he's gonna move with retention. I think there'll be a team that'll take a flyer on him. As long as Montreal retains. If Montreal has to give a draft pick with that, then I'd be hesitant to trade him. But if it's just for retention to get back a fifth or sixth round, I think Montreal will do it.
Junior.
Just out of left field, eh? I wish you would
Yeah,
have prepared
I mean-
me for this.
Well, okay, so while you're thinking, I'm just going to tell everybody, guys, if you guys missed the Olympics episode where we mentioned who actually won our draft, it was me. I basically won the draft. So for guys like listener, well, actually, I'm not sure if it was listener only, but there was some people that were saying that, how did you guys leave Junior drafting McDavid and McKinnon on the same team? Yeah, he finished last. So it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there while we finish the episode with Junior thinking,
All right, so I'll give you two names, just so I have more chances of getting it right. I'm gonna go with Marchessault, and this one's a little bit more far fetched, but Timo Meier.
Timo Meier, that's another team that probably should be selling, right? I
Yeah.
don't know if I don't know what's going on in New Jersey.
But Timo Meier has infinity and beyond years left on his contract at $8.8 million. So I don't know how feasible that's going to be.
Yeah.
You know what? Scratch that. Forget. Timo Meier staying in New Jersey. Going
I will
Marchessault.
play the other.
Sorry, my fault. It was right next to it.
Nick,
That wasn't the outro music.
you want to know how
Man
good my
Rush.
wife?
Yeah, sorry.
Nick, you want to know how good my wife's cooking is?
How good?
The smoke alarm cheers her on all the time.
That air fryer, Tanya.
Uh,
You know, Nick, if Wallstead gets traded, that's going to be wild, man. That's going to be blockbuster.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you said Wallstad for Robert Thomas, it tickled me a bit there. That was quite something.
Where did it take?
I'm not gonna say it. It's a podcast. It's a family-oriented podcast. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Please like, subscribe if you stayed this long. We love you. Thank you very much for being
Thank you,
out, guys.
everybody. We hit 200
Enjoy trade-
subscribers.
enjoy trade deadline.
Absolutely.
Have a good week.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.